put up?
All pictures are up, and we are recording.
All right, thank you. I just want to see who's here. All right, I will call the Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting to order. First order of business is the roll call. Myra, would you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Beloga,
Present.
Commissioner Hukim,
Present.
Commissioner Lewis,
Present.
Commissioner Olson,
Present.
Commissioner Thorson.
Present.
All commissioners are present and a quorum is met.
Thank you. Our next order of business is approval of the agenda. Approval of the agenda as amended with the addition of 6.2 under the discussion items for discussion, general discussion, for a commissioner question. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'm
Commissioner-
sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. Erica Coleman, HRA Administrator, Chair Lewis. The process will need to be that you call for the approval of the agenda, and if a commissioner has an addition, they will need
Okay.
to make an amendment.
All right, fine. No, that's kind of the way I would normally have done it. So thank you for clarifying that. All right, I will call for the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections?
Commissioner Hukim?
Commissioner Hukim, yes?
Thank you,
Right.
Chair. I would like to add, make an amendment to add an item 6.2, Commissioner questions under the discussion items.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Olson will second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to add an additional item 6.2 under discussion items for commissioners. I'm sorry, Commissioner Hukim, how did you word that again?
Commissioner question.
Commissioner questions. Is there any discussion? All right. Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote on approval of the agenda with the addition of 6.2. Myra, would you do the roll call, please?
Did we have a second? John, did you second was there an original motion?
Yes, I'm sorry. It was motion by Hukim, seconded by Commissioner Olson.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, I should have repeated it. I apologize.
All in favor of the motion to amend the agenda? Beloga,
Not sure.
Beloga, are you
He,
muted?
Anybody hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Now we can hear you.
I didn't hear your vote though, Commissioner Beloga.
I think he's having some sound issues. Commissioner Beloga?
Please continue, Myra, and we'll come right back to Commissioner Beloga shortly.
Thank you. Commissioner Hukim,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Aye.
Commissioner Thorson,
Aye.
and Commissioner Beloga. The motion does pass 4-0, unable to hear Commissioner Beloga.
Thank you, Myra. Moving to number 3, approval of the minutes of March 9th, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of March 9th, 2021?
Commissioner Huki
So moved.
moves to,
I'm sorry, who moved, who made the motion? Two people came through. I couldn't tell which one came through.
Commissioner Huki.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Hukim, is there a second?
Second
Second
by
by
Thorson.
Commissioner Thorson. May I have, okay, I will call for the vote. Myra, could you take the roll call, please, for approval of the minutes of March 9th?
Beloga,
Aye.
Hugheim,
aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion was passed 5-0.
Thank you. Moving
Madam Chair?
on. Yes, Commissioner Beloga.
Excuse the interruption, but I lost connectivity and so wanted to let everybody know that I was back. And did 6 point pass?
It did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Moving on now, item number 4, organizational business. Item 4.1, HR motion, HRA Board of Commissioners bylaws and HRA meeting policies and procedures. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioners. Erica Coleman, HRA Administrator. So the HRA Commission, as you know, did meet with staff and legal counsel to discuss the bylaws at our regularly scheduled meetings on January 26th and February 9th of 2021. So we were able to walk through the bylaws of each section of the bylaws, hear from legal counsel and staff regarding any proposed changes, and have a robust discussion, which was really good. So at the regular meeting on February 23rd, commissioners were provided with a redlined and clean version of the bylaws to reflect comments, suggestions, and amendments. In addition to the bylaws, commissioners reviewed and discussed current and new policies. And so one of those was the new policy of meeting policies and procedures that came out of the discussion with the bylaws. And you may be wondering why this is coming before you, because at our annual meeting, we did not vote on approving the bylaws. So at this point, we are still operating under the old bylaws. And so this evening, I am asking for a approval of the bylaws as amended, as well as the meeting policies and procedures document. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Are there any questions for Commissioner or for Administrator Coleman?
Ms. Chair, John Olson,
Commissioner Olson?
thank you. I've read through them one more time, and just a clarification from you, Administrator Coleman. Much of the wording that's in this document is actually coming from Minnesota statute, going probably way back. Is that correct?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Commissioner Olson, that is correct. The wording that was cited as being from the statute when we had our discussions is much from the statute. And Carla Peterson, which is our legal counsel, is on the call, is on the meeting this evening.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Administrator Coleman?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Beloga?
Thank you. Are serially, or my question relates to the policy and procedures?
All right.
So my first question is anyone in jeopardy of the 75% meeting threshold?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Commissioner Beloga, as far as I know, no.
Thank you. The second question is with respect to removal. And I'm not clear, but I believe it's that if somebody falls below 75% threshold, they would be removed rather immediately upon that event, where I believe all other boards and commissions look at attendance a year and removal comes at the end. So a point of clarity on how you interpret this.
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Beloga. I thank you for the question. That language came directly out of the city charter, which governs the city created boards and commissions. And so the process would be the same. The process would be, to be clear, that if a commissioner fell below the 75% threshold of meetings, that the board would have to take a vote. That's not something that we can just do. The board has to take a vote. And then in terms of the question that you posed, it is looking at the year in total. Unless there's extenuating circumstances, it would always come back to the board. And what I mean by extenuating circumstances is if we've been meeting for 3-4 months and we have a commissioner that hasn't attended any of those meetings or maybe 1 or 2 of those meetings, obviously we are a board that we reach out to each other and we, make sure everybody's okay, but that still would come back to the board for vote and action. But typically we look at the year.
And I just wanted to understand, because if we had a commissioner who fell ill and had an extended period of absence and recovery, we would know about that kind of event, and wouldn't want to take an abrupt action without all the facts and circumstances. So thank you for the clarity.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Administrator Coleman?
Ms. Chair,
Commissioner Olson?
thank you. One of the things that I've wondered about is if somebody is not able to come, the wording, and I had noticed it before, but there's wording that indicates that we notify, I think it's the administrator, if we're unable to come. And I don't know, given this discussion, how that fits in. In other words, is an excused absence considered a part of this 75 or the 25% not present?
Thank you, Chair Lewis, Commissioner Olson, for the question. So Myra, could you please scroll down to that policy? And so still here, if a commissioner is not able to attend, they do need to notify, and they can notify the administrator in advance. So that would be a simple email, phone call. And then no commissioner shall be able to take a leave of absence. And so what we don't cover, because this is the same language as in the city code for the other, city charter for the other boards and commissions, is whether an absence is excused or unexcused. That is at your discretion at this point, commissioners. If you want to clarify an excused or unexcused absence, and then take that into consideration when you are looking at the attendance and whether the 75% is unexcused or excused absences. I will say at the city level of the boards and commissions created by the city, this is not something that is called out separately.
Chair Lewis.
Commissioner Thorson?
I believe I was serving on the Planning Commission at the time we implemented this, or that the city did. And if I recall correctly, and it was quite a while ago, even a health issue did not necessarily keep you from being subject to that. And I think the reason, and there's some history to it, there have been a couple of boards in the past where either for whatever reason, I remember one individual was just super busy in a job, and there was an illness. I thought that was particularly harsh in one case. Not quite sure where either one of those ended up, But I think that it looks to me like the policy is fairly clear. There is no leave of absence, which means, I can't take 3 months off, because, I'm traveling the world, and perhaps it would apply to illness, which I think, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But I think it's important that we do enforce it strictly, because I have been on commissions where we all gather and there aren't enough people for a quorum. And the business can't, some of the business can't proceed. And we are currently a very small board, and it has a greater impact the smaller the board is, with 1 or 2 people that aren't able to attend. I would say I personally don't know about excused absences in terms of, I'm not sure that makes sense. But if we did that, we would have to make it very clear what an excused absent versus unexcused is. Or we will perhaps run into issues in dealing with a future member who is not as good about attending meetings as one really should when you're on this board. So I would say let's not try to delve into excused versus unexcused, but that's just my opinion on this.
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Thorson. I would just add that we have previously discussed that there is initiative at the city and other boards or commissions to have some type of continuity and consistency. And so this is not something, in terms of changing the language that is before you right now, is not something that is before any other boards or commissions. And so I would just add that as background information, that if you do choose to make that type of change, if you serve on a different board or commission, it is going to be different than serving on this board or commission.
Okay. Is there any further questions for Administrator Olson or discussion on this issue? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion, and this will be 2 for this item, do I hear a motion to approve amendments and changes to the HRA Board of Commissioners bylaws? Is there a motion?
Commissioner Hukim makes a motion to approve the amendments and changes to the HRA Board of Commissioners bylaws.
Thank you, Commissioner Hukim. Is there a second?
Commissioner Olson, seconds.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. Motion by Commissioner Hukim, second by Commissioner Olson. It has been moved and seconded that we approve amendments and changes to the HRA Board of Commissioners bylaws. I will now call for a vote on the motion. Myra, could you take the roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Beloga. Commissioner Beloga.
Is he having sound issues again? I'm not
Commissioner
seeing him.
Hukim.
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis.
Aye.
Commissioner Olson.
Aye.
Commissioner Thorson.
Aye.
Commissioner Beloga.
It looks like he's having,
Commissioner Beloga, we can see you. If you are voting yay or nay, could you please do a thumbs up or thumbs down right now?
I think
oh, he's
whatever
back.
the audio problem was has resolved.
All right,
It's me
you're back.
again.
Good. Commissioner Beloga, do you have a vote for the motion?
Yay.
Thank you. Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you, Myra. Now moving to the second motion. Do I hear a motion to approve the HRA meeting policies and procedures?
Commissioner Hukim moves to approve the HRA meeting policies and procedures.
Thank you, Commissioner Hukim. Do I hear a second?
Commissioner Olson seconds.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. It has been moved by Commissioner Hukim, second by Commissioner Olson, to approve the HRA meeting policies and procedures. I will now call for a vote. Myra, could you do the roll call?
Beloga,
Aye.
Hughiem,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Myra. Moving on to organizational business, item 4.1, the HRA Board of Commissioners bylaws and, oops, sorry. Item number 5. Sorry, I was going to make you do that all again, guys. Sorry. Moving on to new business, item 5.1, the 2021 CDBG budget and 2021 action plan. May we have the staff report, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is Brian Hartman, HRA Program Manager. Before you tonight for approval is an annual item that we bring forward to you for our CDBG budget for the program year of 2021. Just as a reminder, for the CDBG program, we are tied to the county's fiscal year, which starts July 1st. We are in a consortium with the county and 2 other entitlement communities for suburban Hennepin County. That would be Plymouth and Eden Prairie. We must, however, develop our own action plan and activities for each program year. So before you tonight, we're proposing approval of the activities as the same as the current year. These are activities actually that we have funded for many years that are been determined to be very high priorities for the HRA in the city as well. Those being single family rehabilitation, lead-based paint abatement, which goes hand in hand with the rehab loans, home ownership activities through the West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust, WALT. They do business as Homes Within Reach. Senior Community Services Home Program for elderly to help people who are elders stay in their homes. Fair housing activities, this would be paired testing and other activities that we do in concert with other entitlement cities from around the region. And then finally, just general administrative expense, salaries and benefits, that sort of thing. So our 2021 allocation that we've been allotted through the formula process at HUD comes out to a total of $458,378. That's just a minor increase from what our grant is for the current program year. We are anticipating program income of $400,000 for the coming program year. Again, program income is repayment of old loans. So this is an estimate. So based on kind of how that goes, sometimes we're pretty good at guessing. Sometimes we're not. Last year we were not. We had a slow year because of the pandemic with program income. But we anticipate, given the pace that we're seeing now in this current calendar year, that 400 would be a reasonable estimate, giving us a total budget there for rehab of about $818,000 for that new program year, starting July 1st. And that will enable us to do our typical 30 loans that we try to hit every year at a minimum for that program. Given the approval at HRA tonight, hopefully, we will take this to City Council in April for a public hearing for their consideration and approval. And then if they approve, then it goes to the county board actually for a final hearing and approval at the county level before submission to HUD. Be happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Brian? Hearing no questions, do I hear a motion to approve the 2021 CDBG budget and 2021 CDBG action plan?
Commissioner Thorson here. I make a motion to approve the 2021 CDBG budget and the 2021 CDBG action plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Beloga. Thank you. So motion by Commissioner Thorson, second by Commissioner Beloga to approve the 2021 CDBG budget and 2021 CDBG action plan. I will now call for a vote on the motion. Myra, can you take the roll?
Beloga,
Aye.
Huhim.
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you, Myra. Now,
Madam Chair, if I may, this is Brian.
yes.
Just a quick update. I meant to mention before my staff report that Homes Within Reach, the land trust, they were unable to expend all of their 2019 funds. So they carried over $75,000 into the current program year. And so that meant that they were going to do 3 houses in the current year that we're in. And they just notified me the other day that they've purchased that 3rd home. So they're on track to fulfill their obligation with us. So that's really terrific news. So very happy to hear that. And there'll be another home ownership opportunity for a family in Bloomington.
All right, thank you for that update. All right, moving on to item number 6, discussion items. The first item is 6.1, development programs update, and it looks like there will be an action needed on that. Administrator Coleman, do you want to do the staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair Lewis. So I do have a presentation, and I will go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see the first slide of the presentation?
Mhm.
All right, thank you. So this is our development update. And so the Opportunity Housing Ordinance. So the Opportunity Housing Ordinance, which is the City of Bloomington's inclusionary zoning policy, often called OHO, was adopted by the City Council on February 25th of 2019, and then put into full effect in September of the same year. In December of that year, an Affordable Housing Trust Fund revolving loan fund had an allocation of $15.2 million that was approved by the City Council. And it has been in effect ever since then, as we are learning and growing with what is needed to address our housing policies and housing issues or concerns in the City of Bloomington. So on March 8th, there were amendments proposed and recommended to City Council, and those amendments did pass or become adopted by the City Council. And so that means that the amendments that we brought forward to you as a recommendation, the City Council did adopt those amendments to the City Code, which is the Opportunity Housing Ordinance, which is Chapter 9 of the City Code. And so just to be clear, the HRA leads collaboration and implementation of the Opportunity Housing Ordinance and the Affordable Housing Trust Fund with advisory committee guidance. And so the mission of the OHO is to promote the development of new affordable housing and the preservation of existing naturally occurring affordable housing, better known as NOAH, while furthering private market development in the city. So here's a couple of maps. First map is highlighted the designated transit areas and opportunity zones. This is the whole map of Bloomington. And you'll see to the right on your screen, the red area is what is considered the South Loop. It is also a federal opportunity zone. And then to the left of that red area is outlined in blue. That is the Gateway Development District, which you'll see the next picture pulled out a little bit, highlights a little bit more of the Gateway Development District. The reason this is in here is because I just wanted to highlight that the Gateway Development District became a district of focus through the OHO. However, the OHO applies to the whole city of Bloomington. So, this slide, I just wanted to give you just a quick snapshot. This was included in our March briefing. So the briefing that is mailed to all residents of Bloomington. And we highlighted 4 developments of the work that has been done under with assistance from the Opportunity Housing Ordinance. And so the district at 1901 80th Street West, Lindale Flats, 9320 Lindale Avenue South, Village Club at 1986th Street East, and a 108 Place at 4050 108th Street West. These are highlighted, but there's other developments that are not highlighted here, but a total of 1,611 units are in the pipeline for development at various stages. And of those, 290 units are affordable. So let me allow just a little bit more information about the district. So the district is 248 units, 198 market rate units with 50 affordable at 50% AMI. It is currently under construction and partially open. So they have opened the east building of the district's development, and occupancy has started, and they are looking to open the west building of development. I believe the update I received was around this is March, around May or June, is to open up the west building of development. I just want to highlight that our HRA staff is working diligently to help fill the 50 affordable units that are affordable at 50% AMI. So that is something that our staff has been working on in partnership with the district's management. The next one is Village Club. So Village Club is at 1930 East 86th Street. This is a preservation of 306 units. So 60% affordable at 60% AMI, 40% affordable at 80% AMI. What is the second part of Village Club is 1900 East 86th Street, which is new construction. And this new construction is 172 units, 100% affordable at 60% area median income. It is currently under construction with occupancy expected fall 2021. Some of these are repeats, but I just wanted to give you a recap. These are developments that you all have had a say, a vote in, excuse me, because there has been some public investment. The next one is Lindale Flats, 9320 Lindale Avenue South. This is also new construction of 81 units, 100% affordable at 60% area median income. They have received environmental response funds that is awarded through Hennepin County. They have also received Met Council Livable Communities Development funds, and they also have received tax increment financing that was approved by the board and city council. And so this is under construction and is expected to be completed, or estimated, excuse me, December of 2021. And as of right now, it is continuing to be on track. I'm sorry if I said that this received LIHTC, because it did not. The next one is 8012 Old Cedar Avenue. This is new construction, 68 units. This development received LIHTC, which is low income housing tax credits. So they received $11 million bond award for LIHTC, and this was awarded in mid-January to this project. There's a closing deadline of July 9th, 2021 that is tied to the bonds. And so to reiterate, the proposed project will be a 68-unit project by developer Reuter Walton that is 100% affordable and meets the requirements of the Opportunity Housing Ordinance. The project will be one 4-story building and feature on-site leasing, fitness center, community room, conference room, and heated underground parking. It is a 5-minute bus ride from the Mall of America and light rail transit, connecting it to thousands of workforce jobs in the area. Construction is expected to begin July 1st of 2021 and expected to be completed by July 1st of 2022. In this project, there will be a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. 22% are affordable at or below 50% AMI. That is 15 units within that mix. There is a public investment request of tax increment financing and affordable housing trust fund. The OHO incentives that they are taking part of, which was a part of the amendments that were approved by the city council to the OHO, is a minimum of 9% units, affordable at or below 30% area median income for a 50% site area reduction, a minimum of 9% units, affordable at or below 30% area median income for a 50% site width reduction, and a minimum of 9% units affordable at or below 30% area median income for a 50% open space reduction. So they are offering 6 units affordable at 30% area median income. The remaining 8 units, or 9 units, sorry, can't add tonight. The remaining 9 units will be affordable at 50% area median income. And then the remaining 53 units will be affordable at 60% area median income. So it's full affordability on this project. The reason for the site area reduction, site width reduction, open space reduction, I included just a rendering. As you can see, they needed that to be able to fit the building on this site. And so those amendments that were proposed were to allow for higher density on smaller sites. So staff is bringing this project forward for review, requesting a recommendation to proceed with the public hearing process. Staff would return to the HRA board on April 13th for consideration of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the TIF plan and TIF district request, and adoption of a resolution to approve the development agreement and TIF before going to City Council on April 19th. We would also, if approved this evening to proceed, we would also ask that the developer attend the April 13th HRA board meeting for a presentation, discussion, and questions. So the next project that I wanted to highlight is Penn Terrace. It's 10041 Penn Avenue South. This is new construction of 69 units that would be 100% affordable at or below 60% area median income, with a focus on 50% area median income or below. As of right now, we are still working and talking with the developer to get an updated pro forma and to understand where the project is at, but there is anticipation and interest of applying for the super RFP through Minnesota Housing this summer. So summer 2021, which would be for additional funding for the project. Just wanted to highlight that there are other discussions in play around different developments. So there's potential development discussions right now that would be in the northwest sector of Gateway District of 400 units, in the east sector of Gateway 200 units, and in the southwest sector 500 units. All of these units would be mixed income. I cannot say they're all affordable. I cannot say they're all market rate. It would be mixed income. So another development that is in discussion is 1801 American Boulevard. And the reason this is up is because Knox and American is a redevelopment area, and this would be phase 4 of this redevelopment area. And so this is the property that is in green to the lower left of your screen is HRA owned property, and that it would be about 100 units that would be looked at in development of this. To the right are the current developments that happened in phases 1, 2, and I believe 3, because the district is over there. But you have Genesee, you have Fresh Time, you have Home 2, so you have quite a bit in this area, and so we are looking at phase 4.
Can I just interrupt real quick, Erica? This is Brian Hartman. Sorry. Just wanted to mention to the commissioners that longtime partner at United Properties, Keith Olstead, has announced his retirement effective July 1st. So I just want to let you know that we've worked with Keith through all the previous phases of Knox and Pennant Americans. Just thought you would like to know that. Sorry for the interruption, Erica.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, Keith has announced his retirement and we are still in discussions with, I think Keith is going to keep working up until July 1st. So we're still in discussions with Keith about ongoing development. So thank you for that, Brian. I wanted to bring up the TIF district request because I think it's important for council to know. I did not update the slide real quick, but 700 American Boulevard. This is acquisition and land assembly. So it's a site of potential development that includes acquisition of part or all of 2 additional parcels to advance a high density project. The goals of the development would include developing a vertical mixed use building or buildings that incorporate the city's affordable housing policy and adds commercial space, to maximize development on 2 parcels and a portion of another parcel of underutilized space, take away barrier for development by undergrounding overhead power lines and transformers, and allowing the cost of undergrounding of overhead power lines, regardless of if they're in the district or outside of it, as a deviation from existing TIF statute that will allow the sites to be developable for higher density, not just single-story uses. That is important because we have TIF bills moving through the House and the Senate at this time with this request. And so I wanted to bring forward to the commission, the board. The second request is at 98th and Aldrich. And so this is a site of transformative 2.6 acre transit-oriented mixed-use redevelopment in the heart of our Gateway District, which is, as you know, between I-35 and Lindale. This potential development includes a partnership between Bloomington, the HRA, Metro Transit, Met Council, and Hennepin County. The goals of the development include a transit-oriented development on the Orange Line with a 200-stall transit parking ramp, bus staging, and increase in transit users. Development of 250 to 375 units of high-density rental housing incorporating the city's affordable housing policy. Commercial space for transit riders and residents, maximizing development on 3 underutilized vacant parcels. And so with this one, there's actually 2 deviation requests from the existing TIF statute. But without the redevelopment TIF, the city-owned property would not be able to be developed and take advantage of the existing public infrastructure improvements, such as the Orange Line Transit Station and BRT running through the project, and the city would not be in a position to fund the construction of a parking garage at the Orange Line Transit Station, which allows for the space to develop the housing and retail portions of the project. So that flexibility is really crucial to addressing our housing needs in harmony with transit infrastructure and community amenities. And so below are renderings that were proposed during a developer roundtable process. And then to the upper left is, the upper right is 700 American Boulevard in the red. And then that yellow line is undergrounding power lines. So you see there's a power line that runs right through between those 3 properties, which makes being able to develop impossible. And then to the right, the lower right across from 98th and Aldrich, these are the 3 properties that the HRA actually owns, or excuse me, the city of Bloomington actually owns 1 property and the other 2 are owned by Metro, by Met Council. And so this here's the House File 1970. It was heard at the Property Tax Division on March 17th. I testified in support of that bill. It actually was moved forward to be included in the larger bill, which did pass the House, I want to say just yesterday. Now we have a Senate file, and I'm blanking on the number, but I'll get it right after this presentation. We have Senate file that is going to the Property Tax Division tomorrow, and I am testifying in support of this TIF request tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. for these bills. So I thought it was very important just to include you and let you know what's happening and how it is interacting with the state legislature, because I know that was questions that were asked by commissioners. Just want to remind of our affordable housing goals as numbers set by Met Council and where our progress has been. So 842 total affordable units is the number for the Met Council by 2030. We have 393 of those in progress or already opened. Breaking this number of 393 down just a little bit further, 151 low-income units at 60% AMI is what is recommended. We have 329. At 246 very low-income units, which is 50% AMI is recommended, and we have 37. And 445 extremely low-income units, which is 30% AMI, and we have 27. I want to highlight just a couple of things. One, to get to the 50% and the 30% does require more investment, whether that investment is public investment such as Bloomington tax increment financing or affordable housing trust fund, or if that public investment comes from other entities or other parties, which typically when you're trying to get down to 30% in specifically, you need multiple sources to reach these numbers. And so we are on a good track. We are producing 30% AMI units, and we will continue to monitor and adjust and see where we can work better with developers to reach more 30% AMI units, but it does come with the need for increased investment. As far as NOAA units, we don't have a number broken down for a goal. It was to be determined, but we have 306 in properties, NOAA properties or units, excuse me, in Bloomington that have been preserved. And then 1,458 market rate units, and we've only done 197. So just looking at the progress, we are on track and we are making headway. Just because we are at 329 low-income units and it's only recommended for 151, I just want to caution that 60% AMI or below is still a great attainable goal, as it does include quite a few people. If we move completely to 50%, 30%, while we are addressing the needs of quite a few people, we are leaving out a lot of people that are just over that 50% mark, but they aren't quite at the 60%. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then this is just further breaking down the affordable housing goals by development. And just so you can see how those numbers have been achieved. So additional developments. So the HRA, Old Shakopee and Old Cedar Avenue in discussion of about 149 units, which with 20% would be affordable at or below 50%. And then the Port Authority. So I know we typically don't have information, too much information. We do bring it forward, but the Port Authority has some developments, 8131 34th Avenue, which is 142 senior units. 9% at 60% AMI, so abiding by the Opportunity Housing Ordinance. ROSA, which is 3700, 3750 American Boulevard East, they are doing 20% units at 50% area median income. And then American Square, there are phases 1, 2, and potentially phase 3. American Square would potentially include market rate and affordable housing, as well as a possible hotel conversion to market rate and affordable housing. So this is just a little bit more information about the ROSA and just the rendering. And they're expected to start construction this year. And then just a little bit more information about American Square 1 and 2. So this is phase 1, the ARDER. PIL means payment in lieu. So this is the market rate that they would be constructing, and they would provide a payment in lieu of producing affordable units. This is important because that payment in lieu helps build out our Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So we're not always opposed to a payment in lieu because it works to create affordable units elsewhere in Bloomington. And then phase 2, the Quinn, which is 6 Apple Tree Square, 86 units, 100% affordable at 60% AMI. And so this is showing the workforce space, which the Quinn would be right here to the left of your screen on the bottom. There's an existing ramp. There would be a proposed ramp that would come with the Quinn. And then this market rate is phase 1, which would be the 242 units of the American. American Square, excuse me. So with that, I will stand for any questions, but I do want to go back and just leave up on your screen that I am requesting approval to move forward with the public hearing process for 8012 Old Cedar Avenue. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Administrator Coleman, for such comprehensive update. Are there questions for Administrator Coleman? Hearing no questions.
Madam
Yes.
Chair?
Yeah, people could speak up because I don't always see everybody, so don't be shy, just yell out. Yes, Commissioner Beloga.
Thank you. During the discussion on 8012 Old Cedar, I expressed reservations to the city council. And it's principally related to the site reduction, the land mass reduction. What it really boils down to is I understand the need to create housing for the poorest our residents. However, I think we should do a plane equal to all other residents within the city and taking away the land mass, the green areas, the play spaces, those kinds of, I think is just the wrong technique for doing it. It's a bit easier to do that. We're really giving too much away, as I said during that council meeting, and as a result, don't support that. And I just wanted to share those comments and feelings with my other commissioners. Others may have other thoughts and other feelings. If anyone does have questions, I'd be happy to stand for those. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Beloga. Are there any other questions? And are there any questions for Commissioner Beloga, since he's opened himself for questions regarding?
Chair Lewis.
Yes, Commissioner Thorson.
I would say that I share in a very general term I'm not opposed to density, but I think with going up, we need some green space. We need some place for the families to recreate or enjoy or just have space. And some of you might recall my concerns about the original proposal at American and Lyndale as really packing too much on that land. And we went on to now be looking at, burying power lines and creating more space for a development. And I'm kind of a believer that the families in these units also deserve green space and landscaping. And I just don't want to see us, this is just a very general comment. It's not about any particular project, but I really do want to make sure that with an increase in height, which I'm not opposed to, we have adequate green space and recreating space for the families that live there. I think we can make exceptions when it's close to parks. And in the case of Old Cedar, there's a lot of areas to recreate. I mean, I think we can look at each one individually. But again, I've had that concern since the original project at American and Lyndale came up. And I just think we should, in my opinion, we should, make sure that the families that live in these units have adequate open space. Might not even be the best term, but we don't want to pack so much into it that it's just a stark concrete, area without landscaping, without open space.
Thank you, Commissioner Beloga and Commissioner Thorson. I just want to add that that was, in addition, that was a recommendation from the Planning Commission to make sure that we are looking at, on a development by development basis, the, especially when it comes to open space, the ability to have green space close or nearby that is accessible for developments. So I just want to say it's been heard. Staff is looking at that, and also it's always going to be on a development by development basis that incentives are asked for and incentives are approved or rejected. So just want to bring that back up. So thank you.
Chair Lewis, Commissioner Olson.
Chair, you're muted.
I think we were all muted by somebody.
Yeah, we were, because I was, all right. Yes, Commissioner Olson.
Thank you. I agree also with the sentiments expressed by all three, or both Commissioner Beloga and Commissioner Thorson, that green space is an important amenity to the quality of life, and so I'm glad that we are working toward that, and to whatever extent this information goes to the City Council and moving this forward, not only this project, but as Commissioner Thorson indicated, I think it needs to be something that we hold as a pretty important priority. In terms of the issue of spreading out the where we end up putting money, particularly with the extra cost for 30%, I think one of the factors we need to consider as an authority at a board is to work extra hard to find sources. And I think right now might be a good time, given the effects of COVID on people with very low incomes, that this might be a time to make a focus on that. I don't know that for a fact, but I think we need to go where the money is to some extent, with the idea that it's always going to be an issue with those at 30% AMI, and we just need, I think, to work harder to get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. I just want to highlight that in the 2021 annual plan that was approved by this board, building strategic partnerships was approved, and that does include building strategic partnerships. I just want to be clear that there is some fine line around soliciting, so we must be very careful. However, the HRA, in conjunction with the broader Community Development Department, is working on better telling the story of the work that we have done and the work that we do as it aligns to the priorities set by the City Council and the HRA Board. So we are on that track of highlighting the work and showing the needs of the residents and potential residents of the City of Bloomington. So thank you.
Chair Lewis, if I can do a follow to that.
Yes, Commissioner Olson, go ahead.
Thank you. I made a copy of the information, the public, the info release, news release about our new community development director. And I think that talking about strategic partners, we have a new partner in terms of a full-time, full hire community development director. So if we can end up, I'm sure it's planned at some point. I think she just started on the 15th, so catching her breath and so forth. But look forward to having some discussion that would maybe include some things like what we've been talking about just now in our meeting tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. That's a good idea. Are there any other questions for Administrator Coleman before we move to the one action item? Hearing no further discussion or no further questions at this time, do I hear a motion to review and support the recommendation to proceed with 8012 Old Cedar Public Investment Request process?
Chair Lewis, I don't think
Commissioner
we have the wording in our packet, but if I can just simply say the wording that you said that I would put into a motion, I would like to do so.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Olson. Is there a second?
Commissioner Hukim seconds.
Thank you, Commissioner Hukim. It has been moved by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Hukim, that we move to review and support the recommendation to proceed with 8012 Old Cedar Public Investment Request process. The one thing I've forgotten to do earlier this evening, is there any discussion of this motion before we move to vote? Hearing no discussion, I will now call for a vote on the motion to review and support recommendation to proceed with 8012 Old Cedar Public Investment Request process. Myra, will you take the roll call vote?
Excuse me, Beloga. I'll move on.
Nay.
Hukim. Oh, sorry. Beloga?
He's there.
Nay.
Nay. Okay. Hukim.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
The vote was four for the motion and one opposed. The motion does pass.
Thank you, Myra. On to discussion item 6.2. This was the commissioner questions. Commissioner Hukim, did you want to speak on this item?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Yes. So I recently attended a community conversation with one of our current council members, and I just wanted to kind of put out and ask staff or whoever if it would make sense for, I got a lot of feedback from the community of questions regarding AMI, regarding projects going on, especially in the in my district, because we are the Gateway District. So I'm wondering if the HRA has considered reaching or joining with the community outreach program directors and creating maybe a community conversation with the HRA and the community. There just seems to be a lot of questions, especially with, I mean, we're growing, we're developing, and it's just something I was just wanting to put out there. I answered some questions at the community conversation. It was greatly received, and it's just something I think if we want to be transparent and part of our, strategic plan, something to maybe think about. And I just wanted to put it out there.
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Hukim. So to follow up in the 2021 annual plan, it was to coordinate with the Community Outreach and Engagement Department. Tracy Smith is who is assigned to Community Development HRA, and so we will be setting that meeting up. I just want to be clear and honest, we haven't set the meeting up yet, but it is on there. We will be setting it up, and it does fall in line with answering the questions of what is the HRA. So more things about that I will bring forward to in that meeting. That an idea would be hosting community conversations. So I will add that information, and I should be able to follow up with you in the coming weeks about that meeting and what steps we're taking from there, and also to make sure that any community conversations that are hosted, commissioners are notified so that they can be included as well.
Thank you, Administrator Coleman. And
Thank you.
Commissioner Hukim, I think that was a very good suggestion. Thank you.
Chairperson Lewis.
Yes, Commissioner Thorson.
I would like to add something, suggest an addition to a future meeting. And that is something that for all kinds of good reasons has been on the back burner for quite a while. But many of you may remember that the streetscape for Penn and American is considered temporary. The lighting, there are no benches. There were many times in which we were going to proceed with a comprehensive plan to address pedestrian kind of amenities, street lighting, which again was temporary, streetscaping. And as I said, benches, places for people to sit and so forth. And I think there have been a lot of good reasons why we haven't gotten there, including, turnover of staff and so forth. But I really think it's important to put that back on the agenda and talk about that as we are even talking about phase 4 now. And so, Erica, I know you may not have all the history on it, but it's sort of undone business at this point. And if one goes through there, you'll see that there's really nothing, let's face it, nothing special there right now in terms of streetscape. And that's because we had decided to, at one point, see how the other phases developed and then try to do something more comprehensive. For example, we didn't even, at one point, we had phase 1, we weren't really talking about a comprehensive streetscape because we didn't know if we were going to put that, 81st through, and a lot has happened, and I think it's time to put that right on the agenda. And so that is my request or proposal. And the other item is very minor, but it relates. This board approved a allocation of funds in phase 2, I think, for public art. And I think that I forget what amount came out of the HRA budget, and then community development put in probably an equal amount, if I'm not mistaken, could have been more. And it was the beginning of a process to encourage public art in our redevelopments, which I think is a good thing. It lends identity and so forth. The public art that was done in Penn and American is kind of cool, I think. Actually, it's these stainless steel things that kind of look like fruits and vegetables. And I think it's a matter of the new ownership. I think when ownership transferred, but it hasn't not been lit up for months. And I think it's an attractive feature. And I think we need to look into what has happened with that. You really don't notice it. You typically don't notice it during the day, and you certainly don't notice it at night when it would typically be lit up. And again, another oversight, but I think it's important to find out kind of who has the switch on that, who decides to turn it on and so forth. Maybe other people have more history on that than I do, but that's kind of my recollection. And with that, I'll stop babbling.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thorson.
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Thorson. A couple of things. I'll take the last one first. So in terms of the art installment, I was made aware of this previously, Commissioner Thorson, thank you, and did reach out, and you're right, due to the changes in ownership, there was a lapse. And then there was some more changes with the ownership staff. So the message was not passed along that it lit up, which is very interesting because they just didn't know. But since then, the most recent communication I have is from March 18th when I brought it up again to our creative placemaking, and they reached out immediately. And we are being notified that an electrician is checking on it, and we will be brought back into the loop about what's going on, but we have requested that it be lit up per the agreement and the investment, that it continue to be lit up as expected. I did want to ask, when you mentioned putting on the agenda Penn American Streetscape, I just want to understand what that means to put on the agenda, because is this something you want negotiated with the developer during the development agreement process? Or is this something that the HRA, city, and potentially other departments or whatnot would look at investing in outside of the developer and saying, we want these things installed? So I want to understand what it means to be put on the agenda with the board.
Sure. My understanding was there were funds allocated and set aside for landscaping, and whether those funds were public money or developer money, it was so long ago, quite frankly, I don't recall. But there were some discussions, even to the point, pre-COVID, of course, of going out and doing a field trip and visiting some of the areas, some of the new developments that are similar, where they've done sort of a great job of streetscaping. And, some of the elements of Pennant American that many of us, agreed upon were, all kinds of elements, including the on-street parking, but also wider sidewalks, so that, if a restaurant came in, there could be, a little cafe or something. And, but again, quite frankly, I don't recall where the funding was to come from, but I believe it was all like pre-negotiated, that there was going to be a streetscaping plan in place. And Erica, you might have to just, check with staff and so on additional staff on, the lighting and how that was, chosen. But it had always been an intent to do something more comprehensive, including all, at the time, the present and then future developments. Now we're really talking about current developments and maybe phase 4. I would ask if any of the commissioners might have any recollection of further than what I do right now.
This is Chair Lewis. I do remember the field trip. So, but I'm not sure where we ended on that. Do any of the other commissioners have any memories of that?
Well, I think it was sort of we were going to proceed sort of at the end of, Doug's tenure, when he took another position. And again, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that what we have there is very temporary. We don't really have benches. We really, the lighting is very basic. We had some discussions about the kind of lighting that might have seasonal decorations and things like some other places do. I mean, it was an empty slate, but if there was to be discussion of a streetscaping, landscaping plan, and hopefully, if there was a budget that hasn't been absorbed, but maybe it has. I mean, a lot has happened.
So thank you,
Madam
Chair
Chair,
Lewis and
Brian Hartman, if I may.
Oh, Brian, yes, Brian Hartman, Mr. Hartman.
Oh, please, Erica, please go first.
Thank you. So I just want to, I will look into that, because streetscape, in terms of what I understand, the agreement that the HRA and the city currently have for the developments, phase 2, phase 1, and possibly part of phase 3, includes the HRA paying for maintenance and utilities of the streets that the HRA maintained ownership over. In the agreement that I have looked at, it does not include adding additional benefits such as benches and whatnot. It's literally us paying for maintenance, repair of water lines of the streets, maintenance of sanitary sewer systems, snow plowing, utilities. So I will have to go back and I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I am in discussions about this development as I'm learning more and more of what has been agreed to. So I will make sure to look into that and specifically ask about that. Brian has historical knowledge, so he can speak. And if Carla chooses to speak up, Carla Peterson, sorry, if Carla Peterson chooses to speak up, if she has any additional information, she can as well.
And again, I would just ask that, because this is, a lot of time has passed, one could, drive through there and say, is this what we would have done with this area if we were starting new? And again, it's just in the back of my mind that was like, we did temporary things, and whether it was driven by the developer, driven by this board, or driven by budget, I quite frankly don't remember. But look at it, say, is this our highest and best we could have done, and is there a way to give it that feel that I think we all hope we want in our redevelopments?
Okay.
And it
Mr.
may
Hartman,
take some digging. And it may take some digging.
okay. Mr. Hartman, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, first of all, I just completely support what Erica's comments, that we need to do a full review of what our obligations are and what we have committed to legally through our development agreements and things. But I do share Mark's remembrance, and that if you drive through there today on 80th and a half Street, or whatever that street is called, which we tried to name it something different, but they wouldn't let us. But there are 3 different street lights on that street now for 3 different phases, 3 different street lights. It doesn't communicate unity at all. It doesn't communicate any type of streetscape master planning of any kind. So I think an effort to do that would be terrific.
Yes. This is Chair Lewis, and I would have to agree. I was just drove through that area just very, very recently, and right now it doesn't stand out. I mean, it was a little disappointing when you go through there. You kind of try to get through there as quickly as you can. So yeah, I think it would be a good thing to look into. So thank you, Commissioner Thorson, for bringing that up, and thank you, Administrator Coleman and Mr. Hartman, for considering looking into that for us. That would be great. Thank
Chair
you.
Lewis? Chair Lewis?
Yes, Commissioner Olson.
Thank you. I have some recollections about these topics. And I think what's happened is that we've gone through, I don't know, close to 2 years or whatever of interim status. And I think some balls have been dropped a little bit. And so we need to pick them up and go with it. And one of the things that on the art part, I mean, these kinds of things add quality to life, pride in neighborhood and that kind of thing, if they are good. And if they're haphazard, as 3 different kinds of streetlights suggest, then it's just the other way around. I'm gonna throw in another example. We had a mural painted. There is a mural painted on Old Cedar that close to the park over there that was really a neat collaboration with the art community. We had a couple of people from an organization that guided the process, but there were kids from nearby middle school, I think it was in particular, an opportunity for community to have input into it. And I think one of the things that we may want to do in terms of process is in our strategic planning, we came up with lots of things. And Commissioner Thorson, I appreciate you bringing up the examples that you have. Maybe we should give some thought at a future meeting to seeing if we can have, let's say, a Mark Thorson that works with creative placemaking or somebody else as kind of a ex officio member of a committee, or less formal than that even, and with other kinds of things as well. So just throw that out as a possibility. But I think, as you indicate, Commissioner Thorson, it's important that we look for that comprehensive plan and have some people that are reminding people listening to be put on the table.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. That was a good comment.
So thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Olson. I have taken note of that. I will follow back up with you in regards to the creative placemaking committee. I'm not sure if they're committee or board. What it would most likely be is a presentation or discussion with staff, because we have to know where the money's coming from, to do things. But initial presentation or discussion with that committee and or board would definitely be welcomed, and join staff with a commissioner or two to do that. So thank you.
And again, my request was that it, if possible, be an agenda item. It could be as simple as an update, but what, sort of what have you learned as you've talked to staff and developers and status and about the streetscaping? I had no idea there are 3 different types of streetlights. I just knew that they were temporary and not very attractive. So that's even new news. So I think, if it's an update, hopefully it can lead towards a discussion. I think streetscaping is a really important, just as I sort of indicated, green space and the streetscaping, the feeling of this is my home is really important. And lighting has to do with safety, and benches have to do with people's ability, especially if they have limited mobility, to be able to sit and you walk a little bit and sit and all those kinds of things. And no blame here, but I don't think we've met any kind of standard there in Penn and American. And time to look at it. And if it's a budget issue, it's something we need to then deal with and figure out how to make it well, what something like that should be.
Yeah.
This is our primary, except for Oxborough, which is a number of years ago. This is our biggest, example to the community of what redevelopment can be in Bloomington.
Good comment.
Chair
Commissioner.
Lewis?
Thank you. Yes,
I'm sorry, one more.
Commissioner Olson. All right.
I'm going back to the generic 6.2 topic right now, but if that's timely with you?
That's fine.
Okay. I went to look, I kept the article in the Sun Current, I think it was, about a recent occurrence that revved up some memories. We've been involved in the past with what's happening at Portland, and the project that was supposed to have happened, a national or whatever meeting here in the Twin Cities that got canceled or whatever due to COVID, with a national project where specialists, experts would come and work with us, and we were, I believe, selected for that Portland thing. And that meeting recently happened virtually, I'm sure, but I don't want to lose sight of that, and I assume Administrator Coleman that project is actually in the domain of us. It's in the district and that kind of thing. So could you talk to us about that? And is there a way for us to kind of re-engage as a commission?
Thank you, Chair Lewis, Commissioner Olson. This is newer information to me, so I will have to do a little bit more research just because I'm new and coming up to speed with a lot, and I'm not quite sure exactly what is being mentioned here. So I'll have to follow back up with that information. And so I just wanted to clarify, you said that there is a national initiative that Bloomington, or the HRA in particular, was selected to be a part of, and it was headed out of Portland, Oregon?
No, regarding our Portland Avenue and a collaboration with the city of Richfield. Can somebody come up with a name? I'm bad with that anyway. But
Portland
I can,
Legacy.
It was the
I
CNU
Portland
Legacy
Legacy.
Project.
Oh, the Legacy Project. Okay, so, okay. When you said national, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Got it. So yes, I can actually get some more information about that. That is Julie Farnham of Planning has been the lead on that and has been sending me emails and information. I think we have a meeting set up, but the CNU project, I will get more information and follow back up. That I am a little bit more aware of. I actually, sorry, I was thinking that there was some national initiative that we were a part of and we had money coming in. So I was thinking of the streetscape and I was getting ahead of myself here. So,
Well-
no, I will follow back up around the CNU Legacy Project and provide you the information on where that's at.
Thank you.
That would be
Thank you.
great. That'd be great. And maybe that could be like on the agenda on another meeting. That would be great, because I do remember that as well. Yeah, are there any other commissioner questions? Because that was this item. So this is a really good opportunity for people to bring things up if they want to. If not, we'll move on to number 7, which are 7 on our agenda, which is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Olson suggests we adjourn, makes a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson.
Second by Thorson.
Second by Thorson. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Thorson to adjourn. I don't think we have any discussion on that. So Myra, could you call the roll call vote?
Beloga,
Aye.
Hugheen,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye, and nice work, Chair Lewis.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You should see all the notes I have here.
never works.
Whatever.
Motion was approved to adjourn the meeting at, it is now 7 PM.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you,
thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad I made it through.
Good night, all.
And